Oh, hello. Welcome to the 2013 Hundie Challenge. Today we're going to be discussing Gene Genie by Two Mules for Sister Sarah. Dee-doo-dee-doo-doo, dee-doo-doo-doo-doo-dee-doo-doo-doo, dee-doo-dee-doo-doo, dee-doo-doo-doo-dee-doo-doo-doo. This was a very short book. It was a fast read. I got through it in a day. I think I would have gotten through it in a day, no matter what day of the week it was. It was just over 100 pages in this copy, and it was one of the faster reading books that I've come across. I think the only one that was faster was The Bridge of San Luis Rey, which you can check out that video for my opinion on that. This would remind you of the Dead Poets Society or the Emperor's Club, that whole genre. Of course, this predates those movies by some 50, 60 years, so maybe I should really be saying that those sorts of movies owe something to this book. But in reading it, I guess I realized that there is such a genre without necessarily knowing a whole lot about it. But you know the basic story. There's a teacher who really, touches her students and really encourages them to think outside the box, and she affects them deeply for the rest of their lives. But of course, no such teacher who thinks outside the box can possibly function and will eventually be brought down. What I liked about this book in comparison with the others I just mentioned, and unfortunately I don't know a whole litany of them. I'm not that well versed in the great teacher novels. But what I liked about this book, as opposed to the others, was that whereas those movies tend to make the teacher out as some kind of saint, this book was much more focused. Well, it focused both on the good and the bad of Miss Jean Brodie. She's obviously a narcissist and obviously a little bit of a weirdo, I think, for any age, whether it was, the 30s or the modern days. She has really peculiar ideas about everything. She does everything in a very unusual manner. And while that's great for the sort of kids, she kind of basically inherits these 6 girls at the Girls' Academy that's called her set. And she inherited her set in her prime of her life. These words keep being repeated over and over and over ad nauseum. You know it is the prime of Miss Brodie's life, and that these girls are her set. But whereas Robin Williams was, kind of this saint who was too good for the world, Miss Jean Brodie obviously, passes along the bad along with the good. And while these girls were, I don't know that they were open-minded, but they maybe receptive is the right word, in receiving Miss Brodie's method of teaching, they learned, astronomically better than the average person. So, they were cut out for that cloth. They were meant to learn that way. And so she considered that a great success. And they all admired her, and then one of them betrayed her. And then it's kind of an interesting, it's not exactly a whodunit. I think it's not all that far. Well, it's a short book, so it might have been like a third of the way through the book, but it's not all that far through the book where you learn who betrayed her. Of course, you don't learn exactly what they said until the end, which was kind of interesting. And I do like when books, when they kind of leave their mysteries out in the open. This isn't like a whodunit. It's not like a mystery novel. But for the key mystery, which is which of her girls betrayed her, okay, not that long in we learn who. How did she betray her? Okay, it takes till the end till we find that out. What I do like, though, is that all the clues are right there in the text, like right there out in the open for you to notice if you're the type of person to notice that. And I love it when an author can do that, when they can really just be like, oh, well, here's the Chekhov's gun right there. like, you should have noticed it. It was right out there. I sometimes compare this to, and I just watched the season 2 of the Game of Thrones, and I was disappointed that they cut out my favorite part of that book. It wasn't my favorite part of the book. It was my favorite part of the book as a storyteller, which was that Tyrion went to all the blacksmiths in King's Landing, and he said, make giant chains for me. Stop whatever you're doing and make chains. And the whole book, you're wondering, what are these chains for? And it's right out there in the open, and it's not till the end, till the big finale, that you learn exactly what the chain is for, even though the whole, everything else was like table setting for that. Like, you should have known, but I think that's a mark of a great author when they can pull a fast one on you like that. This was a pretty good book. Like I said, it's kind of like the Dead Poet kind of thing. It's, maybe if you're a teacher, you'll love it. But not a bad book. Pretty fast read. Thanks for tuning in. Next time we will be talking about The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. Thanks.